Greetings, programs. This is Kratic, and I want to go over my progress this season. I'll be giving you some quick tips on solo leveling, particularly as a wizard, but it could apply to any class. Gaining paragons this season. Go over my attempts at a group setup, trying out the group meta. I've got a zBarb, so I've been playing a little bit of that. And then I'll go over some of my alt classes or alternate builds that I might be looking into playing this season. Let's dive in. So as you can see here, I've got about 114 hours on Wizard, about 29 hours on Barbarian, so that's about somewhere in the range of 20% time spent grouping or trying to group. It's probably more like it. I'll go over my attempts at groups in a minute. For now, let's focus on solo. About Paragon 700 is when I finally got the gear required for the Tau Frozen Orb Sage build. I have recently put out a rework on that, a build video on that. So I'll put that link in the description as well for this build, but I was able to swap over from the Veer 6, Veer was the starter set this season, to Tal Rasha at that time, and that's when I started running Torment, 12, I think. I'm still running Torment 12 because I'll go over that in a minute, why I'm still running Torment 12, but basically at about that time I put together this build, wasn't augmented or anything, started running Risk, got keys, did some lower level greater rifts, put together my Tal Rasha speed build as well. Of course it wasn't augmented at the time either, but we pushed our way up and got pretty smooth 85s down, so that's when around, I don't know, 800 or 900 is when I did my first round of augments on this build. We were able to get gem levels up to 77 conveniently, so that's what I chose. And that was basically it for a while. Now, the method I've been using to level Paragon solo is I've been running, seeking out the pools of reflection. Now these are the little yellow pools that give you experience bonuses that usually you would hunt out in a group setup. You might run, or you might use a bovine bardiche to create a cow level and then go get the pools that way, or you might just, look through a level such as Leorg's Manor to see if there's a pool near the spawn point, these sort of things. But I'm not getting the pools that way. I am running rifts. I'm just doing it the lazy way and running torments. So I'll open T12s. The reason I'm doing T12s and not T13s is because I want to do it at a level that I'm comfortable, that I will not die at, because I'm going to gather up these pools and keep stacking the bonus up and up and up till it's hit its maximum cap, which I think is 10, but I'm not 100% sure on that. You can get up to, that's where I typically stack it up to. I try to get around 10 pools. As you can see here, I've already run a bunch of torments. At this time, I've got 66 billion bonus experience pool remaining. At that point, after you've run all these rifts and got the bonus experience, you have collected a lot of keys, which is nice as well. It's very efficient in this way. And then you can swap over to your, so this is the Sage build I'm on, to your Greater Rifting build. This is my Tau Meteor speed build that I've been using for solo Greater Rifting just to gain Paragon. It's a very tanky setup. I love it. But whatever, this could be any sort of build. You could be using any build that's viable for Wizard, or any class for that matter for Torments, and any build for Greater Rifts that's viable that way. Whatever those builds are, you swap to your Greater Rifting build, and you run Greater Rifts again at a level that is comfortable for you to where you won't die. And it's very important you run at a level that you won't die in, because you don't want to waste your pool bonus for that way. it's also, I love it because it's gives you some variety. I mean, you're not playing the same build for hours. You're swapping back and forth. It's a little bit of variety there. Gives you a little bit of fun in that manner to kind of mix it up. It's not as grindy in that sense, I guess you could say. But that's the gist of it. That's the gist of what I've been doing solo to gain Paragon. You can see now I'm closing in. I'm so close on 1200 Paragon, which is super cool. But I've been running this Meteor build after I got it augmented with low-level augments, and I got a couple of ancients, decent ancients, not perfect, but pretty good ancients. I'm able to run greater F90s fairly comfortably without dying. So now let's go over and examine. There are a couple of cool things. The Torment build I've been running, the Sage build, does run the Boon of the Hoarder gem, so I will gain gold as I'm going through Torments as well. But as you know, you need a significant amount of gold to empower those greater rifts. So if you find you need more gold, you can put together a, well, I'm missing an item here, but it's basically a gold build where you have specific items that have rolled gold percent on them as a secondary. So as you can see here, most of the items have some sort of gold percent on them, and I'm running the Broken Crown and the Cube with the gold skin. You could swap those around, but you get the idea. And even if you're missing a couple rolls, see I'm missing gold here, doesn't quite matter so much, and theoretically you could use a weapon that rolls gold percent on it there. I know there are two of them. There's a sword and a mace that both roll gold percent, so you could use that instead of Aether Walker, but I found it more convenient just to slap this on for the moment. But that got me a lot of gold when I was running in a 4-player setting, the Greed's Realm, to when you have to spend off those extra puzzle rings. So that's a good tip there. Now, let's see. Okay, and so that's the gist of what I've been doing solo. Oh, yep, before I forget, I do have a bounty build that I've been running. I had a very hard time getting an Ancient Death Wish. So at about, I don't know, 900, 950 Paragon, I got fed up with it. So I ran, I'd say about at least 350 bounty materials worth of bounties. I don't know how many bounties I ran, but it felt like a lot. But I do have a bounty build. I will post that. It's a Frozen Orb bounty build, non-Archon. It's pretty fluid. It works very well. I can say in most of the public bounties that I was doing, I was able to kill Malthael, all the bosses, fairly handily, and it's pretty quick. It's not quite as quick as a monk, I would say, for bounties, but it is fairly quick to flit across the map and get to different destinations. So I post this in the description as well. And so that's what you would use to try and get an ancient weapon if you're still having problems with that. And yep, that's what I've been running so far. I also have a Frozen Orb Greater Rifting build for low level gem ups. I don't run it quite as much because I didn't find the need. I was just running those Greater Rift 90s so much that my gems are now leveled fairly high. I am now working on my second round of augments at this time in the season. So you can see I have some fairly high gem levels here, which I've pushed above 90. This will be for my Firebird set. So I've now acquired, I had a dreadful time finding ancient Firebirds pieces, but I've started finding a few that will hopefully get me going in season. And so I'm preparing to get those ready for augments. Of course, I don't want to augment my crappy ancients or the ones that I think are not as well rolled. I don't want to aug those with my highest augments, so I may be preparing some lower level augments just for those, just to get by with. But as you can see here, I have almost a full set for that. And then I'm preparing a second set at the moment for It could be either a second set for your class, or you could be preparing it for an alt class or an alternate build. This set here will probably be for either my Crusader or my Barbarian, and I'll show you that in a minute. But that's the gist of what I'm doing at this time in season. As you can see though, this method of running Torments and Greater alternating, because you tend to run more Torments than you do Greater, you end up with more keys than you're spending. So it gives you a huge amount of keys in the bank, which is important because you will need these later on in season when you go to do your solo pushes. And it's very convenient in that way, because usually I'm like scrambling around just to do a ton of Torment runs at near the end of the season right before my solo push. It's very much a drag because at that time in the season, you know, you're above such things, and it's just a lot of work. That's why this method, I think, is very convenient, and it's also very fitting for someone in my position. Now, let's pop over to the Barbarian, just take a look at what's going on there. Now, my Barbarian, I've been trying to get into groups. I haven't always gotten into the best groups. I've been doing public groups. I've also been doing, had a few friends that I met up with in groups, and I've joined with their groups multiple times, which is a lot of fun. But typically I would say if I'm joining a group, my Paragon is one of the higher of the set of people there, and we're just running like 90s or whatever. We're not running, what I would need at this point is at least 95s, probably closer to 99s to push my Paragon at an adequate rate. But of course, you know, I'm not running with a steady 4-player group, so this is very difficult to do. If you can run with a steady 4-player group, that is probably the best method to get Paragon. Unfortunately, I just don't have a steady group to run with. I have some very nice friends who've been helping out and just hanging out with, and we had a lot of fun, but that's not going to get me consistently Paragon any faster than I probably could do solo, to be honest. But I've had quite a lot of fun just, you know, pushing the limits. I've ran both, you'll see here in the armory, I have the zBarbarian Whirlwind build. This is supposed to be mental channeling, but you get the idea. We'll put a link as well in the description for this build. This build is specifically for Rathma speeds. It's a setup where you have a zBarb, a Z Rathma, or sorry, a Z Necro, and then 2 Rathma DPS Necromancers in the group, and you're just kind of blowing through the rift. And they are very fast runs. They're anywhere from, I don't know, 3 to 4 minute runs. I've gone as high as, there was one night I joined a group and they had some very powerful Rathma DPS in the group, so we were able to do 99s in that quick of a time. So I'd say that's the only time though, that one time I joined that group that I was at a level that was gaining me Paragon faster in group than I could have gotten by myself, to be honest. But it's been fun grouping with everyone who's helped me out, and I've also got this Raycore setup. So this is your standard charge barb, creates the globes for, this would be if you're running, say, with maybe a Witch Doctor or some sort of off-meta setup. So if you're running with Crusaders, with Wizards, typically the charge Raycore setup, zBarb setup will be the better one to run with, so just keep that in mind. I would have both on hand if you're planning on running a zBarb in season, but this has just sort of been my side project to, you know, see how it is, and I'll say it's good, but my verdict is that you probably need a steady group to be gaining much from it, Paragon-wise. But as far as fun, you should do it just for the fun. I would say yes. But anyway, I'm working on alternate builds. As you can see, I acquired enough gear from my zBarb to put together a HotA build, so we'll be trying this out in streams sometime soon. I will also put a link. My stream days are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'll go over that again near the end of this video, but that'll be something cool to try. I also, I'm thinking of rolling a Crusader, so that was one of the classes I wanted to try, specifically because Crusader has multiple sets that use, or sorry, multiple builds that use the same set. The Icon set this season has at least 3 builds that you can run. The Blessed Shield, you can run Condemn, and you can also run the Holy Shotgun Crusader, or the Lazy Shotgun Crusader. Any of those builds all of them are used with the same set, which is very convenient for a class. And it's also, I've always wanted to try Blessed Shield, and Condemn, so we'll see how this goes. So I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, as I was saying, stream days are currently Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Times will vary, but I'll list those on my Twitch homepage. I'll put a link in the description, and I hope this has been informative. Thank you for hanging out, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the grid programs.